Hello everyone. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask 3D and specifically the special edition that came out for this game. Ocarina of Time came out on the 3DS in I think it was 2012. It was like a little over a year after the 3DS had launched. And one of the first things people wanted to know was, when are we going to get Majora's Mask 3D? Because it's the follow-up to Ocarina of Time, and it was kind of still a cult favorite at the time. Wasn't broadly popular, so that's where people started petitioning Nintendo to release or to remake Majora's Mask on 3DS. You might have heard of like Operation Rainfall. That was a fan-organized petition to get Nintendo to remake and re-release Majora's Mask on 3DS. And a couple years later, in 2000, I think it was 2015, they finally did. I think it was the November beforehand that they had released a trailer for this game, and it was the opening of that Nintendo Direct, and the first time we had seen Iwata in a while when he was presenting Nintendo Direct. And it was an awesome trailer. Everyone like I remember Twitter exploded that day, because it was like, it's finally happening. And then when it came out the following February, they announced this collector's edition. They had a new Nintendo 3DS collector's or a special edition new Nintendo 3DS that was coming out with it. This game, I believe it launched alongside the new Nintendo 3DS here in North America. In most other regions, I believe it was Xenoblade Chronicles 3D, but here in North America, it was Majora's Mask that did that. So one of the things that people thought when they first saw this collector's edition was, it's Skull Kid, it's an amiibo. And no, this game doesn't actually have amiibo compatibility. They updated everything in this game. They made Mr. Onuma talked about in developer interviews that he replayed the original and created a what the heck is this list, and it was just a list of things that he didn't like or enjoy or understand about Majora's Mask, and that's what they set out to fix. Which means that the 3DS version is in some ways notably different than the N64 original. It's still recognizable and largely follows the N64 original, but there's a lot of small changes that add up to a pretty different experience than the N64 original would offer. So I'd highly recommend giving that an interview a read through. It's really an interesting interview to read, and it was part of Mr. Iwata's Developer Asks series back when he did those. Like I said, one of the things that Nintendo announced was this collector's edition, and I have it here. So it came with the game, of course, and this Skull Kid figure. I think this was priced at $100 US. I might double check that. And I got mine from GameStop. I pre-ordered mine from GameStop. And it comes in a nice packaging. Just on the front, you have the game's logo, which I like the game's logo a lot. It tells you that this is a limited edition Skull Kid collectible figurine, The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask 3D. And the cutout that you can see Skull Kid through is shaped like Majora's Mask, which I think is very nice. And this top artwork, I haven't seen this anywhere else beyond this collector's edition, or this special edition, whatever we're gonna call it. I'll figure it out eventually. But it's very, very well done. It shows Skull Kid getting Majora's Mask. Tattle and Tail are up there at the top, so this would be before the events of the game officially kick off. But this artwork is very, very cool. I like it quite a bit, and the fact that it's not, as far as I know, been published anywhere beyond this box is quite something. So on one side, just have the game's logo. Same on the other side. The top has Majora's Mask, and the bottom has nothing, some text. But the back, we'll take a look at the back, largely mirrors what's on the back of the game itself. The world will end in 3 days. Can you stop the apocalypse in time? So this game is famous for having a 3-day time cycle, and you have to complete the game within those 3 days. But you get to turn back the time an unlimited number of times, and you make some progress each cycle and ultimately end up saving the world. So, special masks to transform, specifically calls out the Zora mask and the Goron mask. The Zora mask ended up being very controversial because it's the most changed from the N64 original, and not entirely in a positive way, which is unfortunate. And I believe this is calling out the Bomber's Notebook and kind of the side quests. And the side quests are really where a lot of this game lives. Help him befriend Termina's intriguing residents. Then just some screenshots of the game. Notably, this game is CirclePad Pro compatible. The CirclePad Pro was an accessory released for the original 3DS that just added, kind of like the image describes here, it was like a case for your 3DS to sit in that then added another CirclePad to the side. And when Nintendo released the new Nintendo 3DS XL, it had the C-Stick, and the C-Stick is mapped in terms of hardware basically the same way as the CirclePad Pro would. So every CirclePad Pro game utilized the C-Stick without any kind of update or anything like that. And games, released exclusively for the new 3DS could use the C-Stick. So that was kind of a note about just the 3DS hardware at the time that this came out. So we'll go ahead and open up the top. And we'll pull out the figure itself. Set it off to the side. And of course, we got the game itself here as well. And I do really like the artwork that they went with for the 3DS re-release. It's very hand-drawn. It kind of follows the style that Ocarina of Time used in its art. And I like that the moon is so present. I really like this artwork a lot. It's very, very good. And on the back, like I said, basically the same deal. And the cartridge art is, I believe, basically just the game's logo on a black background. And this was far past the time Nintendo did instruction manuals. Club Nintendo, I believe, was discontinued by this point. So you really were just getting the game itself at this point. And then here we have Skull Kid in the packaging. So if we pull this apart, we can then remove Skull Kid. And it's a very high quality figure, quite honestly. You can see mine's a little bit dusty, but the base is pretty straightforward, just has the Zelda Majora's Mask logo, and you just have the figure of Skull Kid as he appears in the game wearing Majora's Mask, kind of putting it on. It's not removable or anything like that. You can see the top of his hat. See a lot of details that you don't get to see in game. But Skull Kid's one of the signature pieces of this game. So getting a statue, a figure of him, is very, very cool. The base is hollow underneath, so that's a little bit different and unique. Don't know if this says anything. No, it doesn't. But yeah. So for a very long time after purchasing this special edition, I just had the Skull Kid sitting on my desk, and I would just leave Skull Kid there while I worked and stuff. Since I've created a shelf of all my Nintendo memorabilia, and now he just sits in the packaging, in this packaging, on display there. So yeah. And when you're done to box them up, you can just set them back in there, and the plastic kind of snaps firmly around him. Less firmly all these years later. And then he just kind of sits in there. So we shall return Skull Kid once more to the packaging. Assuming I can get him back in. Hang on. There we go. And we'll return the game to the packaging as well. So Nintendo did a lot to promote Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask 3D. Like I said, it came out alongside the new Nintendo 3DS XL. But they also had this pin that came out around the same time. And, this little box just has the game logo. Then inside is the pin of Majora's Mask itself. And I've not removed this in a while. But yeah, it's just this little lapel pin for Majora's Mask itself. It just sits in this box. This was a pre-order bonus, I believe also at GameStop, but not for Majora's Mask 3D. No. You got this pin for Majora's Mask by pre-ordering an entirely different game and a substantially worse game, codenamed Steam. So you would pre-order codenamed Steam from GameStop, which came out like a month or two later. And as part of pre-ordering this piece of shit, you got a pin for Majora's Mask 3D. I don't know what anyone was thinking, but this was another game that was very much designed with the new 3DS in mind. It has Amiibo support. It utilizes the Circle Pad Pro and the C-Stick, and we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on this game. Other than to say that in order to get this pin, this promotional pin for Majora's Mask 3D, you had to pre-order something that wasn't Majora's Mask 3D. And the final bit, I guess, to this saga is, I believe it was the year of, or the year before, and I don't remember when. I should have looked it up, because my memory is failing me. But around the time that Majora's Mask 3D came out, I think it was the year before, one of the Platinum Club Nintendo rewards that you could get was the Majora's Mask official soundtrack, and it's on disc, so you could burn it to your computer. Back at the day, people would take, to explain this for the younger viewers, you would buy CDs, you would put the CD into your computer, or you'd have some kind of external CD player that you'd attach to your computer, and then you could rip the soundtrack files off the CD and load them to your MP3 player. This is what we did instead of streaming music back in the day. But this was a very sought-after reward because it complemented another Club Nintendo reward that had come out several years prior, which was the official soundtrack for for Ocarina of Time. So people really wanted this because the 3DS game, but also people had the Ocarina of Time soundtrack, and people wanted both. So I do have both. I won't go get it because we're going to talk about Ocarina of Time 3D some other day, probably. But I do have the official soundtrack, and it has the Club Nintendo icon down there at the bottom. Majora's Mask's eyes can encompass the disc art. And this is a 2-disc release, so disc 1, and if we open it up a little bit further, disc 2. I haven't looked through this list in a while. So Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask official soundtrack. The Club Nintendo Elite status gift is only available to those who achieved platinum status by June 30th, 2013. So this was a 2013 reward. I was very far off. This came out about 2 years before the 3DS game. Congratulations and thank you for being a loyal member of Club Nintendo. And then you can unfold this and you can see what's on each disc. So disc 1 has kind of the first tracks that the earlier tracks that you would hear in the game. Kind of through, it looks like the Woodfall Temple. And then disc 2 has, I can't remember what is it just the Goron Village? The Goron Village has through, looks like the end of the game. So yeah. Back in the day, it was very cool to earn elite status on Club Nintendo. This was a goal like every Nintendo diehard had, and it was awesome to be part of it. So we'll tuck this back in and close that up. So there we go. This is the merchandise, I guess, that I have as it pertains to The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask 3D. I played this game. This was the 3DS version was how I beat and played Majora's Mask. In the years before I even had a 3DS on like the Wii Virtual Console, I would play. That's how I played Ocarina of Time, and I loved Ocarina of Time when I played it on Wii Virtual Console. So of course I was eager to try Majora's Mask when I learned that there was a sequel to Ocarina of Time. And it was so different, and it really is a challenging game. It's very fair. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just very hard game to kind of wrap your head around, especially when at the age that I was. I understood Ocarina, but not Majora's Mask as well. So the furthest I ever got in the Wii Virtual Console version of the game was, I think, to the Snowhead Temple, which is the second temple in the game. So about halfway through. And I just couldn't figure out how to raise and lower that pillar in the way that I needed to progress. So I might have done it once, but I never made it any further than that. When this game got re-released on 3DS, it made so many graphical improvements that were appreciated. It made a lot of quality of life improvements, most of which were actual improvements. Some of them not as much. They did tone down the difficulty of Majora's Mask in the 3DS version, which some people dislike. And some of the changes I don't like myself, but I think on the whole, they did a good job with this remake. So when this game inevitably comes to, Nintendo Switch, in some capacity, whether it be, a port or of the 3DS version or yet another remake, because this game is now is a little over 10 years old. I hope that they do reverse some of the decisions that they made in the 3DS version and give back a little bit more of the N64 DNA into this game. So that's my memories that I have with Majora's Mask 3D, and a look at the CD that you could get as a Club Nintendo member, and the pin that you got for playing, or not playing, but for buying Codename Steam for $40. I don't know why I did that. But of course, the real main deal here is the Skull Kid figurine, which is a very, very cool figurine to have. And I'm very happy to have this in my collection on my shelf. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.